Hello. One of
We're-
these days,
we're
I'm going to get
small
this
again.
right. There we go.
Hi.
Yeah,
It's the little things.
it is the little
It's
things.
always
Yeah.
the little things that get us, right?
So feels like we're back again.
Yeah, we're also in the wrong
Oh, we
seats.
are. Yes. Let's change that. Because
I can just be
you
Sarah.
can be me. You want to
Yeah.
be me. Everybody always thinks we're the wrong people
I know.
anyways. So
We might as well help them think
There we
we're the
go.
wrong people.
now I got it right.
I just looked down. I was like, oh,
look,
that's different
That's
today
different.
too.
Yeah.
Because we have to be complicated and not sit in the same spots as we always do.
True.
So
Yes.
there we go.
So hello.
Hello, Roxanne. So
Um,
yes, thanks for joining us today. We're gonna
Talk some more.
continue and talk about scan and cut and how to create and get files there and make it nice and simple and
Yeah.
um
And we were gonna talk a little bit about
some upcoming stuff.
Yeah.
So,
should we do upcoming stuff first and then
Sure.
scan and cut?
Yeah, and that way if there's anybody that's just hanging on for that, we
Yeah.
can
Absolutely.
not make them suffer.
They don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to listen to us for an hour. So we sent out an email today. Hopefully, if you are on our email list, you've seen that email, or now you know to go and look at it. We
Right.
do have our annual Serger event coming up this month. It is Serger month already.
It is so crazy.
And we are going to do some really fun stuff. We've created.
I am really excited. I thought our drawings were pretty cute.
Yeah.
But the physical,
when I stitched it out,
when it came all together,
yeah, it's not too bad, even if we do say so ourselves.
It's a good one, guys.
So we have this adorable. I'm going to try to hold some of these things up to the camera so they can see a little bit better.
Closer
I'm blind,
actually
so
happening.
is it?
You're good. A little bit higher. So this is the middle. Is what you're seeing right here. So this is actually
puffing or ruching.
It's ruching. So it's basically ruffled on both sides. And then sewn into regular straight fabrics, so that you don't have that on the outside edge. So that is the center of our project.
Yep.
So we'll be ruffling and showing you how easy it is to do that.
Yep. And then we have
some kind of quilting, but
yeah.
showing how you can use your loopers as decorative stitching. And it doesn't have to be quilting. It can be, we've done this with wallets, and we've done this with outside of bags and all kinds of different
just anytime
fabrics.
you want to add a little embellishment,
embellish fabric.
Yeah.
How much fun you can have with your looper threads and putting decorative threads in that looper, things that you can't get through a needle, and how much fun you can have with those. So that's that crosshatch design there that you see.
And then we've got like some flat locking and a little bit of like
and
piecing.
That's these guys here. So here's the flat lock and then some piecing there. And the piecing portions are just kind of a standard stitch, but done on the opposite side of the fabric that you would normally do.
Yep.
And then some adorable pin tucks. So it's very excited. And then some more ruffles.
So
we've got a additional piece here that you can see the color, but you can't quite tell. This is piping, so we're also going to do that. So we've got ruffling with making a ruched center. We've got looper stitching and chain stitching, making a quilting. We've got flat lock and regular 3 or 4 thread stitching here to make a piece section. We've got pin tucking, and then we have sewing a ruffled edge that has a rolled edge on the side. So you have a finished edge on both sides here, and then we ruffled that and then sewed that onto the outside edge. So this is designed. Oh my gosh, I know. I was just playing.
Yeah.
And I didn't have all of the right stuff, so I wasn't able to actually complete a sample or anything. But I was just having a ton of fun just playing with all of the different things that I had. So I think our fabric choices came together really nicely. We've got actually a couple different kit choices. So we do have the pink version, which is what I know you're all very surprised. Sarah chose pink. I didn't. So I have kind of a teal and mint blues and stuff. So most of the fabrics are the same. It's just going to be a couple spots that will vary. So where you saw pink, you would have teals or vice versa in those. So that is our Serger event that's coming. I'm sorry, excuse me, and
3
or
ways.
you can do that as a class. So if you
Yep.
are already a serger owner, and what I mean by that is a baby lock auto tensioned serger owner, you could sign up for the class and come in and learn how to thread for all of those different pieces, and actually make your own. So it's designed to be a bench pillow.
Yes.
So it will fit perfectly the Kimberbell
A 16 by 38.
16 by 38 bench pillow. You could also, of course, adjust it and make it something else. But that's what the kit will fill, is the front of a bench pillow. You can make backing whatever you would like it to be.
Absolutely.
You could make it a table runner if you wanted to. It could be, whatever you want it, or you could make 2 square pillows, or, mix and match however you would like. But we designed it as a bench pillow because that gave us a lot of real estate to play with. So,
and Linda has a question. So, will my Imagine serger work for this? Yes and no.
So from a class perspective, yes, because there will be
we'll have some machines set up. So if you want to do some of the other techniques
that you need
your
the cover
serger
hem
doesn't,
for,
then we'll have that as an available option for you. But there are some techniques that if your serger wouldn't do it, you could probably do those techniques on a sewing machine.
Right.
So we will talk about in class, we will talk about alternate ways of doing different techniques, or maybe changing the technique and doing this section for this part or this piece. But yes, a lot of the techniques, so flat locking, piping, pen tucking,
of course, the standard that can be there. The rolled hem can be done on the Imagine. So the only thing is that the crosshatch quilting area you would need to either do on with a decorative stitch, or on our store machine, if you were to come in. So most of that can be done on a 4-thread. There's going to be a couple things that you will need, either a sewing machine or an 8-thread 4. But the bulk of things will be able to be done there. So that is going to be the following Tuesday, is the in-store class. So if you already own one, you can sign up for class and come in and learn how you can individually thread all of those pieces. But we have an option for everybody. So the Friday, the 20, why don't I have that in front of me? First?
Let's see. The calendar is
that
here.
Friday.
So yeah, the 21st, Friday the 21st.
That is basically like what we're doing here. So that is going to be open for all, YouTube, Facebook, and that will be, everybody can watch and tune in, whether you already own a serger, whether you are thinking about owning a serger, or whether you just think, well, that looked really pretty. How did they make that? And you want to pop in and see how that goes. That will, just like all of our other YouTube and Facebook, be recorded and able to be watched for a rerun if you needed it to be, or
to refer back to later,
to hit pause as you're doing things. And we will be making and showing all of those parts live. So we'll be doing all of that on that Friday.
Yes.
The Saturday following, so the 22nd, that one's going to be
like a try before you buy sort of thing. So if you've been on the fence about maybe wondering whether or not a serger is the right thing for you, in this little class, we'll have a bunch of different serger stations set up for you, and we will have fabric pieces there, and you will basically move from like section to section in the store, working through the different parts. So while you won't physically be learning how to thread for each of these pieces, because you don't own a serger yet, you don't own one of these yet, you will be able to work through the different steps. So you can see how easy it is to actually perform all of these different techniques.
You can hit the gas pedal and see how they actually all come together underneath the needle.
And ask questions and things like that. So, and you'll be sewing on basically all of the sergers in the lineup. So you'll get a chance to do some
see
techniques
how they all feel
on all of them. And then you will, you'll have all of the pieces that you need to make your top when you leave. So you will be able to make one of those on that Saturday. So that is the 22nd. And then on Tuesday,
The
the
25th.
25th is when you already own it. You come on into the store and I will walk you through each of the different threading techniques and make sure that you're successful in doing that. And that class, the Tuesday class, is the only class that actually physically comes with a kit.
Right.
And a pattern.
Sorry, excuse me.
The round robin version, you won't really have kits because we'll need to have your pieces sort of cut for you for the different parts.
Yep. So you'll have the parts
Yes.
to build the whole top when you go home, but
You won't start with this.
It's not going to be like, here's your bag. When you walk in the door, you'll have the miscellaneous pieces.
At each station.
At the end of the class, you'll have all of the pieces because you'll have built them at all of the stations.
Absolutely. And then we will have a pattern available. So we'll have written instructions on how to actually complete this with the correct sizes and all of that stuff, the feet that we're working and all of those things that will be available for you as well. The pattern will be $10. We're actively writing the pattern. So if you were to purchase the pattern today, there wouldn't be a download yet, but it will be available before a week from Friday because it has to be.
And if you purchased it today, the download, as soon as we load that pattern, it will automatically come to your email. So it's not like you have to go keep looking for it or anything. If you purchase it before that Friday, as soon as we upload it, it will come to your email. So you don't have to keep looking or anything like that.
You do not. So we are super excited about this event and having everybody come in the store again. So we hope that you're super
excited.
Classes
really are so fun, having everybody literally in here playing with fabrics and things. And another really fun aspect of these kits is they are some vintage Flora fabrics in there. So we don't have those on the floor yet because we're still hoarding them. I don't have another answer other than we're still hoarding those fabrics. But there are some really great fabrics that we aren't selling. But this is another way for you to get your hands on those fabrics.
Absolutely. And then speaking of vintage Flora.
This is the center of Oh So Delightful, the wall hanging. So I did finally get these pieces stitched, and got everything sewn. So I've got all of the quilted filler pieces done, along with all of, for instance, the pin cushion and all of the 3D aspects. Of course, the embellishments aren't on yet, but
there is like a 3D part on the sewing machine. It's so cute.
It is. All of it is just darling. So the thread list has also been uploaded. So if you are stitching this and you wanted to know what ones that we used, if you are in the Stitching with Style group and would like to get those, they have all been into the discount code list. So you are able to purchase all of those that are on that list as well at your discounted dollar amount. So I have started stitching other parts. I've just kind of had a few other things.
We have had a couple of things going on.
So,
all right.
But so that is Serger and what's going on with that. So
we're super excited.
I am. I mean, we started talking about it and I was like, this is gonna be really cute. And then we decided to make it bigger. And then I got a little bit more excited. And I was excited before you made your sample. And then when you came in, I was like, oh my gosh, that is really darling.
I was shocked at how cute it was.
It came out absolutely adorable.
Yeah. For like sometimes, when we have something planned,
your head has built it up so wonderful that the reality of it's kind of like, yeah, that was all right.
Yeah.
This one is even better than what we were picturing.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun to make.
I mean, even without having all of the parts and pieces that I had tons of fun just playing with the parts that I was able to do at home. I don't have all of the feet. I'm going to have to work on that.
You're going to have to add to your
I'm going to have to add to my, my serger does get a decent amount of use, but it's much more utilitarian.
Yeah.
With how I use my serger.
Which is pretty normal for people.
So this was a lot of fun just playing. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do this more.
All these things that you
All
can
these
do.
things
I
I
know.
could do, and I just don't. Why don't I?
I
Oh
know.
yeah, I remember now. But
Yeah. One, it was funny because Dave was super impressed. He's like, "You did that on your serger?" I was like, "I did." He's like, "You made that piping and everything?" I was like, "I did."
I did piping. I did piping, and I did ruffles, and I did rolled edges, and I just didn't have the threads, and then a couple feet. I was
Yeah.
like, I guess I better stop.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
maybe I'll take some things home with me tonight. Anyway,
All right.
let's talk about what we're supposed to be talking
Yeah,
about
let's
today,
talk scan
which
and cut.
is scan and cut and getting that cut file maybe from some other places that you have available to you.
Mhm.
So we talked a little bit about this at the very, very end of last week, and we decided we were just going to kind of extend. So this that you can see on screen now is our Dime software. And I know.
Ding, ding. Yours is
Ding,
about
ding.
to start.
Not dinner. You've seen this screen before. We've talked about Dime in wow, that stripe is like.
It's funny how they do that, isn't it?
Woo! Don't let me look at that again. So the Dime software has a lot of functionality, no matter which Dime portion that you have. So what we've got on here is the PEP version. So the Perfect Embroidery Pro version, as what the tools I currently have selected on screen. What we're going to talk about today is how do I get a cut file out of a design that maybe didn't come with an SVG file, or maybe it came and it was grouped in with a whole bunch of other ones and you just want one.
Yes.
Because it's too close to the other one. And your fabrics can't be that close on your mat and still get what you need. Because I have had that happen.
Are you listening, Kimberbell?
No doubt. I have told them that before, but that hasn't changed. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to open I'm going to open a pretty basic one. It is a Kimberbell design. This is a applique base, and it's just going to be stitching on top of this oval. So if I wanted the correct size oval that I didn't have to trim, this would be, I'd bring it in. And if I was going to adjust it in size, maybe that's what I have a cut file. Maybe I have a cut file, but I don't want, I want to adjust my entire embroidery file. And I want it bigger, smaller, so on and so forth. So if I was going to do that, then what do I do? Because my cut files don't equally change with that either. So if I were going to change that, let's just pretend that's what we're doing. So we're going to take that and we're going to resize the entire design. And that's why I need to recreate my cut files. So if I've got that, and I now have that here, everything has equally resized, but the cut file that came with it no longer will work. So I've got, you can see down on the right-hand corner, I've got all items, and it's listed each individual different portion of the design. But what I really only need is that top one. So the first thing that I would do is, of course, I've resized it to the size I need. I would save my embroidery file and send it to my USB so that I can stitch it out in the size that I need.
Yes.
But I also want the cut file. So the easiest thing that I do is I actually select everything but that oval. I just get it right off my screen. So I'm not looking at anything other than what exactly it is that I want. And I get rid of the little dots, because those little dots will become cut lines on your scan and cut. So if there is a manual stitch in some random place, you don't want that. So you want to get rid of anything. You just want that line. In Dime, we very easily right click. And
does it sound like there's a dog whining? Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry. I hit my mouse on something, so I got a whole bunch of things I wasn't supposed to do. Sorry about that on screen. We're going to right click if you're looking in the bottom right-hand corner, I've got that blue highlight there. We're going to right click and we're going to highlight up to the convert to, and I'm getting there. Some things are popping up, which is great. What I want is that bottom line. I want artwork, and I'm going to click on artwork. And so now that is not a stitch. It's literally just artwork.
Yeah.
And all that is in my Scan and Cut's mind, that is a cut file. So at this point, I can save that. I can export it however it is that I would like to do that. I can click on File now. I can export the artwork. And look at that. It automatically pops up SVG. Like I said, this is artwork. This is an SVG, which as far as my Scan and Cut or your Cricut or your whatever else it is that you use, this is your cut line.
Yes.
All right. If you are saving it, so I go to Save As, then I get a whole bunch of options. One of those options is on this one here, not going to be SVG. Depending on the program that you're working in, and this is why we're going to show you multiple different programs. So your gut thing is going to be, well, I want to save as, right? So in here, that's not an option because SVG does not show up as a save file option here. All right. So one more time, I'm going to show you how you do need to get that file out of here. We're going to go to File and we're going to go down to Export Artwork. And that is where that SVG file will then pop up. So I can then save that as whatever my brain is, I can resize, large,
you want.
make it large better together or whatever it is that my brain is going to know later on is going to be that. And then put that on my USB or wherever it is I'm going to need it to on my computer or whatnot. So that is how our Dime software
takes a file
and will allow you to get a cut file out.
Perfect.
So it's not specifically designed as cut file software,
right?
But that's how you can manipulate and take that. So we are basically taking any of those placement lines. And that's what you're really looking for. So,
and I was just going to say, I think most brands of software these days, if you have like software like by a machine maker or something like that, almost everybody gives you an option to import artwork,
right?
Because people use them for digitizing,
right?
And then export it as an SVG. So you probably, if you have different software than what we're showing at home here,
you probably have a way to do it. Again, we're going to show you a couple different software versions so that you can see. I'm going to do the same file in all of them so you can, it's going to be the same thing repeated, but it's going to be slightly different. Ways. So if you have a different one than what we're showing, like Sarah said, it's most likely there is a way to do it. It's just you have to find the right button to push.
Right.
And export versus save versus whatever.
Yeah.
But I, again, delete everything I don't want so that I'm not getting a whole bunch of things that might end up confusing my Scan and Cut later on.
Yeah.
I just want what I want.
Yes.
So I am going to, I think so, but and I think it's not going to let me change screens that easy. That's what I thought it was going to do. So I am going to go back and stop sharing and go back over here and share something else. Let's try this guy. All right, so this is my Floriani screen. So you'll notice it looks really similar to the Dime screen. However, there are quite a few differences now. They have definitely veered into their own path. Yeah, I'm even there. So, yep, you must be dying.
I have to plug in my little fan over
here.
Your
little fan. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get myself a white working screen over here. So some of the differences you can see right away, and right above our names on the bottom down there, you can see those little stars and little arcs and things across the bottom of the screen. Those are what Floriani calls their one-click wonder buttons. And those are, they really are one-click wonders. You tell it what you want it to do. You click whichever one is appropriate for what you need, and it magically changes whatever it is that you need into whatever button you click. So again, I'm going to open that same file so that we are staying consistent. And it's going to pull that in down the right-hand side. It looks a little bit different, but still the same concept of what we had. It's a little bit bigger. It's easier, a little bit easier to see, actually. I'm going to select all those items again, and I'm going to rotate them so that they're, oops, wow, got a little click happy there. And I am going to make that bigger, just like we did last time. And so we're going to stick with that same premise of why we're doing this. So the cut file, again, doesn't fit, and we want to export out a new one so that it's going to work this time around. So I don't want, that's not what I meant to do. Let's try that. All right. So can you tell I haven't been in here in a while? The files are all selected if they're all blue, and I don't want them. I only want one of those ovals. So I'm going to get rid of all of the other ones. So I am going to select everything but that top and delete the rest of them. So I literally just used my shift key, selected everything, and I hit the delete key on my keyboard. That simple and that straightforward. And I now just have the original placement line for that fabric on screen here. So when I right click on here, unlike in my Dime software, it doesn't look quite the same. I don't have that convert to with a whole bunch of different options. What I do have is a convert to outline. And in Floriani, I need an outline to be able to manipulate it into a whole bunch of other things.
Sure.
So in here, I convert that to an outline. And then when I select it, all of my buttons across the bottom of the screen are now highlighted. So I'm going to click off of that again, just so that you can see. See how, if you look right above our names, at all of those different codes across the bottom, when I click off, they all go faded. And when I have that outline selected, it lets me choose what I want.
That makes sense.
This is what is the easy part in Floriani. So in Dime, we right click and we can make it be a fill stitch. We can make it be an applique. We can make it be whatever we want. This is where the easy parts are in Floriani. We have it an outline, and then we can make it be whatever. So for instance, we could make it be a fill stitch, so on and so forth. So that is the one-click wonder buttons across the bottom of the screen, and we can make them be whatever we would like. So I want that to be, again, artwork, so I can have my SVG. So I'm going to click on the artwork star, which is towards the right side of the screen. It's now highlighted. You should be able to see that. I think you can. All right. I'm going to click on that. And over here, it now shows that as artwork, where if I hit my plus, you would actually see that word artwork popping up in my sequence of items there. So I've converted that to artwork, which we already know now from our previous screen that artwork equals cut file as far as our machines are concerned. So now I go to file and I don't have an export. It doesn't like that at all, does it?
Maybe if you make it a full screen.
I can try that. Let's go there. Yeah.
Nope.
It's better on yours though.
Yeah.
All right. So the export, well, it was better on yours. The export artwork is not there. So in this particular software, we don't have an export artwork tab.
Sure.
So like we were saying, every place is a little bit different. You just have to find your software's place. So we're going to go to save as here in Floriani. And down at the bottom, I have different file type options. I'm going to click on that. We did this on the other one to kind of show you that it wasn't there. Guess what? It's here. So in here, I have SVG as an option. And then unfortunately, pop-up menus don't always play nice. I'm just going to click on it. You can hopefully now see that it's changed to SVG on your screen. I do actually have an FCM option in Floriani. They do give you that. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't matter a whole lot as far as your scan and cut is concerned. It's going to cut an SVG the same way as it cuts
Mhm.
an FCM. You might get a different preview.
Right.
All right.
Might
So
actually be
you're
able
going to
to
actually
shape
see the shape possibly
versus just the
versus
words
just the word in a black box.
SVG. Yeah.
So that might different, but the cut file itself will
be the
not
same.
differentiate from one from the other. So there you go. And that is how we would then save that. So we click save, label it again, whatever floats your boat,
Mhm.
and you would then have your readjusted cut file.
Cool.
All right. So that is the
Floriani
the
version.
Floriani version of how you would do that. So one more time, I'm going to switch screens. And no, of course not. Open this screen. So many buttons.
Mhm.
All right. So this is our brother software. And did that not go? I'm frozen. There.
Well,
We're still good over there. Let's play with this for a second.
too many things open at the same time, maybe.
I don't know. Clicking way too many buttons. I can tell you that. Do. There
we go.
That's much better.
Mhm.
That's interesting. Okay. Let's get rid of you two. All right. So this is our brother software.
Mhm.
Interestingly enough, that's not actually where I am. All right. I'm going to go ahead and make that bigger.
There we go.
Did that change anything?
Yep.
All right. So over here, again, same thing is going to happen. I'm going to pull in that same file so that that we're staying consistent. All righty. And there we are. I'm going to grab all of those. Maybe. Interesting. That doesn't usually happen. There we go. Ding. And we're going to make that bigger. Come here, buddy. All right. So in here, we actually have a little bit different options available to us because SnL is a brother item.
Yep.
We actually have the ability to export a scan and cut item. So if I were to select that, I can come to my scan and cut tab and play a little bit differently. So let's see. I don't do this very often either because export cutting data. Look at that. Does that pop up on your screen?
Mhm.
All right. So when I click on that, it literally gives me a screen that gives me everything that I need to know. And I have the ability to manipulate these files, which is actually really nice. So sometimes, have you ever cut a file that wasn't quite what you needed? It was just inside the cut line or something like that. So we can, one, we have a box that says create a line around the outermost edge only. In this case, that's what we are looking for. Sometimes that is, and sometimes that isn't what you're wanting. But we can actually offset a little bit more. So you can see that I can change how much space that is. So if I wanted a little extra coverage, I could give myself just a little bit of bump just to make sure that it was grabbing hold of that fabric really, really well. I can save that. That's highlighted blue on your screen there. I can save that as an FCM just to my USB, to my computer, wherever. Or if I am connected, I can actually send that into my Canvas workspace, which would therefore also send it into my scan and cut if I'm connected there. So I've got lots of options here in the brother world because they're brother.
Makes sense.
They're brothers, they're sister machines. And we'll go with that family analogy
Yeah.
there. So we've got the ability to do that. So I've got multiple ways of doing that. And all that it would save is, again, that black line that you see on screen there. So very easily, I just right-clicked, I hit export cutting, and it's going to take care of that for me.
Now, for the sake of inclusivity, can we save as an SVG file and not as an FCM?
I don't think so.
Okay, so like there's no export out.
I don't
on
think
that
so.
file.
So if I take all of my files here, I'd have to get a little bit more creative. So the first thing that I would have to do is divide those by color because they're grouped. And then I would have to take, and like we did on everything else, delete, select those, and unselect that one. And it's just being a bum. There we go. I'm like, it won't let me select. My computer's running very slowly today for some reason. It must
got a
be.
lot of windows open.
I do have a lot. That's why I tried closing everything before we started, but
You still had a lot of windows.
I still got a lot of windows open. All right, so I have, just like we did before, I can save as, and let's see what we get here. Look at that. Nothing. Let's cancel that and export and see if we can SVG that one. Am I missing something?
I think your
my
program is not loading
freezing.
everything. Yeah.
It's freezing. Yeah, there's some white boxes there that are not supposed to be white. There's supposed to be a box right there. We go.
There it is.
But I do not have an SVG, so I don't believe we can export out of here that's not an FCM file.
All right.
Which, of course, means that only the scan and cuts will read those.
Right. So, good to know.
Good to know, which is unfortunately what I thought was going to happen, but good question to ask and good question to have answered. So that is the brother version and how you would get your cut file to your scan and cut from brother is literally using the scan and cut tab. We started having a scan and cut tab. We had it in 10, we had it in 11. Yeah, 9 have it.
I don't know. That was before. That was BS.
Trying to. I can't remember if we may have had it in
at least the last two.
I know we've
current and
right
the last
10
version.
and 11 had it. I think 10 might have been the first. It's small possibility that we had. Let's close this too. Oh. Just close everything that I don't need. All right, get rid of you. All right, so let's come back here and try one more screen. Playing nice?
There we go.
Hey! Yay! Okay, so this is Craft and Cut. This is kind of my baby when it comes to
and it looks a lot like the Floriani software.
It really does, and it's because it was created from Floriani and their peeps there. So it does function in a lot of ways like your Dime and your Floriani software, but it is intended and it was created for cut files. So it will do
everybody's cut files
exactly what you want it to do for a cut file. And not only can you get the cut file and export those out, you can create and manipulate and the rhinestones, all of those things. You have those tools in here where last week we were talking about you had to have the rhinestone kit to get the rhinestone tool.
Right.
In here you don't have to have that. We have registration mark tools in here. We've got all of those things, and we do also have the auto artwork piece, which functions pretty well. Just like with anything else, texts, I don't ever recommend that you auto text, whether you're digitizing or whether you're cutting.
Or texting on your phone. Auto text.
Auto text is bad no matter what, right?
Yeah.
But you have the ability to really create lots of really great things. So it's just a matter of what do you want to do. There is a monogram wizard in here. This software, especially originally when what we had with Canvas Workspace was just the fonts that were in the machine.
Right.
Until we had the desktop version, we didn't have the ability to use all of our Windows fonts and those true type fonts through that free version. So this got a lot of use and those things there. So the ability to do that is really wonderful in the Canvas Workspace.
So I'm
free version.
Sure, the question everybody asked. This is a fantastic software, and we're going to show you something. How much does it?
$449.
Yeah. So for $449, you can get all kinds of crafty tools in here, and it will create SVG files.
It will.
And everybody's cutting machines reads SVG
will
files.
Create that SVG file. So it also does create applique files. So that is the only thing that it creates. And it's not completely surprising.
Right.
Because that has something to do with applique.
Yeah,
imagine
cutting,
that,
right?
In the cutting in there. So if we wanted to create, base things that had an applique on there, it's very, very easy to do that. And you can export out the files to embroider that along with the cut file that you are creating to cut that. So you do have the ability to do that.
But you would need to create the whole file in this software as opposed to opening something that wasn't an applique. Like you couldn't open the design that we just did and make the oval the applique.
I mean, if I got rid of all the other things, I could do whatever I wanted to.
But it's
not going to take all those other parts.
Right.
Well, I don't know.
Does it open PES files? Yes.
So that was in here. So here's all of those. Oops, I keep going so far. If I wanted that line and I am I just need to figure out what that line exactly is before I can see whether I can play with it or not. Properties. So editing in here is not so much the, to take something that's already a stitched line and change that is not per se a thing. I can't grab it and make it artwork. Trying, but this is my artwork button and it won't let me do that. It also won't let me break it apart and move it and do other things to it. So there's all of the properties that you can see for this whole design. The stitches are stitches. So I can work on top of that design.
You could draw over
I could draw over top of it and create a new oval very easily. And take and make that oval match, so on and so forth, and make that into. So I've got now all the way at the bottom of that list, you can see that I have artwork. And that one I can make into whatever it is that I want, because that one is, boom, now I have that as a satin stitch applique. And then I could get rid of the other files.
Cool beans.
So I can take that and go and move that up at the top, and I can get rid of my other
pieces
stitches
and parts. Cool.
So yes, you can manipulate, and then I can save that as that file. But I can't
So it doesn't replace your embroidery software.
It does not. Like I said, it's basic applique work. It's not going to let you do anything super crazy because, like you were saying, it's not. That was really brilliant. I got rid of my other toolbar. Kind of need that. So if you were looking to just do a large applique letter and you wanted the cut file and everything else to go with that, we can certainly do that. So this is still a
artwork.
It's just an artwork file. There isn't anything with that. So it's just a text. If you notice, all of my tools are still grayed out because it's text. So the first thing I need to do is break it up so that it's artwork. I need artwork to be able to tell it what I want it to do. So I can now make that an applique. That applique, I can now make a blanket stitch or a motif stitch. So I can apply that, and now I've got a blanket stitch applique. So there's a lot of power in this. It's just a matter of what you would like to do with it. We've done a couple different classes. It's been years because of COVID.
Yeah.
But we've actually done multiple classes with Craft and Cut that I have taken everybody through the base different pieces of how it works and what you can do with it. If you are looking to do your base cut file, so applique notwithstanding,
yes,
the cut files that you have the ability to do in here, the text I showed you very quickly, I didn't actually say the words, but when you click on here, you can type whatever you would like. So if you're doing, wow, I can type really, really well. And I want that to be in, I love this stinky cheese font. It's the greatest ever. I can now have rows and rows, and I can manipulate the spacing because there's actually spacing lines and everything over here. I can do line spacing. I can have all of that, and I can see it on screen. Then when I go to cut that, it will cut however I have it laid out on my screen, versus trying to see it all
on that little screen.
Yes. I can manipulate an individual letter. So when I have these tiny little yellow and blue, this is my font editing. I'm in fonts. I'm not just resizing things. I'm actually manipulating the individual parts. So I can drag and blend pieces together and remove things individually. So I can take an individual letter out of line and move things, so I can really, really manipulate the individual pieces where I want them to go. It's just a matter of, how do you want it to go? It gets a little bit when you have multiple lines. I would generally do one line and keep each line separate and then cut them. They're obviously separately cut. Cut all together, but I wouldn't try to edit them. It's fighting me. It doesn't, but you can manipulate the space in between and so on and so forth. What you've got there. So you've got the ability to weld those different pieces. Welding is going to take out, you can see the
space,
that white overlap that you're seeing right there. We don't want when we're cutting, because that would be an individual cut that we don't actually want to have being shown. So if we were going to take that individual piece, I can take and I can, again, break up the text so I can start to manipulate it. I can select these letters and only these letters and tell it that I want to weld just those letters. So now you can't see anything, which doesn't super helpful, except you can see over here on the right that I've connected them. But if I select those and I take the fill out, unfill, there we go. Now you can see that they're all connected and there's no middle cuts. So if I were making that out of a sticker it would all remove together instead of, which is what you want. You don't want little tiny pieces. So you've got all of the ability to do that. And I can really manipulate all of those little parts, and it's so easy. The tools are all in here to do that. If I wanted that to be out of rhinestones, I simply can do a rhinestone fill and select that little section or whatever it happens to be. I can do all of those things.
And so when we select rhinestone, I know that when I first learned that the Scan and Cut could do rhinestones, I was like, yeah, it doesn't really make sense to me because I'm thinking about how the machine is going to put down all of these little circles. And I'm like, that's not really what it does. But the rhinestone maker basically allows you to cut circles.
It does.
And then you cut circles out of like this felt type material. And then you brush the rhinestones in over top of it. And then you put like sticky transfer tape. So if you've ever gone to a store and you've bought a rhinestone that somebody else did, and it's kind of like on sticky paper that you put it down there. So they used some sort of software to create all of the circles, to lay all the rhinestones down in perfect order. Otherwise, you're sitting here with your little heat tool, putting them in one at a time.
And who has time to do that?
Right.
So what this has the ability to do is you lay out whatever your path wants to be. So you can take clip art images that you've downloaded off the internet. So if you've seen the store sample of the dandelion spray, the base for that, I cheated. I used the auto and I let it create art, outlines for that. And then I said fill. And then I took the next, 2 days to maneuver and move all of the rhinestones and added them and subtracted them and moved them and whatnot. What you have to remember is you can't resize
once you have
rhinestones in there. So you have to have it the size that you want. So I've obviously resized the LUE here way past the tiny little grids that you see on screen here. So we're still only 1, 2, 3.5 inches tall. So not super big.
No.
But a 1-inch B is not going to hold any rhinestones. It's just not how rhinestones work. So I've made this section big so you guys can see a little bit better. And when I click on, you can see it kind of adds them in where it can, but it's still having a hard time fitting rhinestones into the spaces. There are smaller rhinestones. So if I go for smaller ones, it gets it better. And then I could go in and I can add. So this is where the purchasing software is a little bit better because I have more playing power. So I actually can come in here and I can go into my rhinestone tool, and then I can select one and I can insert, or I can delete, or I can move an individual rhinestone. So I can say, okay, I need to insert. So I'm going to click and move and click and insert and just keep adding and move wherever I want. If I have something where I don't like where they are, I can remove them. And then once I don't like the insert portion anymore, now I can come back in here. And this is why I said when I was joking, but I really wasn't joking. For the next 2 days, I moved them.
Yeah.
This is literally what I did. And I kind of zoomed in until I was like, okay, this needs to be here. You can really get obsessive about it, but you can literally get everything placed exactly where you want them to be. But what I can't do is now select all of this and just make it bigger.
Right, because it would make your circles
Because my
bigger.
circles are going to change size. So the circles are the hole that the rhinestones fall into. So those need to remain consistent with the rhinestones specifically.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just undo so we get back to where we were. So this is, again, a welded design that we've taken parts of that. If you look up here, and I've got these two pieces, and I take the fill out of those, you can see, I'm going to zoom in on that so you guys can see that a little bit better. You can see that overlap there. It's going to cut a
Right.
hole in the D.
The E is going to have
It's going to
the
go
leg
that
in there.
overlap.
Yep.
It's going to literally make a hole
Mhm.
that's going to come out of the D.
Right, just like our embroidery software.
Exactly
If
like
we
that.
don't, if we have,
We need to remove the
we
overlaps.
need to remove the overlaps. Otherwise, you get that lump in
Yep.
there. In this instance, you'll have a cut.
You'll
versus
have a
lump.
cut, and in this instance, it would literally make an empty spot instead,
Right.
which you really don't want.
No.
So, the ability to weld things and align things and all of the different capabilities. We have shapes that you can pull into. So there's built-in shapes that are available, and I apologize for the blinking on the screens. These are all of the shapes that are already in here, so that you can just say, you know, okay, here's my star, and I want that filled with rhinestones. Well, that looks way better. Right? It fills things in, and you can play with that. If you are only wanting to do an outline of something, you can do that too. And obviously there's more to this software than just rhinestones. I'm just giving you those options are one of those. So here's an outline of a star. So I don't have to work hard. Let the software work for you. So those are just different built-in things there. If I am starting completely fresh and I wanted to build in some different designs, we've got, oops, let's try this one. Multicolored designs, which again are going to give you multiple cuts for each different shape and different piece in here. This is a really cute heart though. So if I like this heart and I want it randomly tossed, this is just like our software for embroidery, but it does the same things that you have the ability to do in your cuts. So if your brain just can't go, well, this would look really cute if I turned that at a 33 degree angle and I put that over here, the machine will do that for you. So you can say what your whole size is going to be, how many things you want in there, how much spacing you want, all of those different things. So, you know, I can make this be, let's just write in there, 12 by 12. And now it's going to change different, you know, and you can make your different pieces, of course, in there. So when I apply that, until I see something that I actually like, which so far I'm really not loving any of those, but let's just say we like this, then it puts that on screen for me, and then I can cut all of that out as necessary. If I am trying to do a grid of something, I can do that. I've got repetitive, if I'm trying to do multiple cuts of the same thing. This software, yes, it costs some money, but it has a lot of power in it. So if you are a heavy cut file person and you want to be able to create your own, it really has the tools in there to really help you do those things. I have the ability to bring in an image and trace it. So I have certainly done that a lot for classes. A lot of the times, if you are taking a class, part of the reason that I'm able to keep our Scan and Cut class kits low is I create the files instead of having you go out and buy them, or I buy them and then charge you for them or whatever. When I create them, then I don't have any copyrights that I have to deal with or anything like that. So a lot of the times I'll come up with the project and then I'll create whatever that file is so that you guys don't have to pay for the file. This is the software I'm generally using to do that with because I have so much flexibility in being able to do that. You know, whether it be heat transfer foil or all of the different letterings that we did on those cups years ago when you guys got 6 different options of what do I want to put on my curved cup. You know, that class wasn't that expensive. You paid for the cup for the most part, you know, not for 6 different cut files. You paid for the cup. And this is what enables me to be able to do that. So.
And you can also manipulate a design that you purchased for someplace, because we've done this together.
We have.
We did my New Kids on the Block cassette tapes. So if you have an SVG file from someone,
like, I don't like that, but I love the rest of it. You can take out parts and bits that you know, I don't like the way
Right.
that part looks, or could you scooch that in, or make this
We
part bigger
changed
or
it a little bit.
smaller?
It's kind of like embroidery software in the sense where you can kind of grab a piece and sort
And
of
make it your
manipulate
own.
it.
And yes, absolutely.
So I know a lot of people are like, I'm not creative. So like I couldn't just create something on
Right.
my own. I know it took me a long time before I started digitizing myself, but I have always picked apart other people's stuff because I'm like, oh, that's super cute.
I just want this, or
yeah, or I want this tree with this heart.
I have way too many. So here's a really stupid example. All right. So my daughter works at NAU, which is Northern Arizona University. She was a student there for a while, and now she works there. So this is going to get to be a really crappy file because it's originally only like yay big, but we're going to make it 6x6. So this is just something I downloaded. I'm like, I need axes. So they have this really cute, they're the lumberjacks, to give you a little bit of background. They're the lumberjacks. So they have axes a lot.
Yeah.
Well, kids being kids, whether they're college kids or high school kids,
right,
they have a saying that says, kiss my axe. And they're on shirts all over the place. That's a thing. So I made her something that said that, and I needed axes to go with that. So this is the auto artwork. I'm just clicking and clicking and clicking. So I did nothing except push buttons because I was yakking the whole time. I wasn't even looking on the screen to see what was there. I just want the axes themselves. So whatever these little parts were that were at the bottom of the page, I'm going to get rid of because there was some junk that was at the bottom of the page. And there's this little, yep, I don't need you either. So this is what was created from a picture. And I wasn't even looking at the picture while it was doing it. And I took a picture that was about 1.5 inches tall, blew it up to 6 inches, and this is what it came up with. So these are now cut files. I can take the fill out and you can see it's just an outside line. The fill is just for visualization. Right. If I wanted those to be, different colors, I can do that as well. So I can take this whole section down here and I can make them be blue. So if I wanted to see what something was going to look like with blue vinyl instead of black vinyl, I can visually see what all of that is. So it's all in there. It's very powerful software, and I've been using it for years. It's kind of my baby. I use this a lot. I probably use my scan and cut almost as much as I use for my personal use, as much as I use my embroidery machine. I do a lot of cutting.
I definitely don't, but I am cutting on mine now.
You're getting there.
So
you're getting there. Yes.
And so, I don't have to call you.
Baby steps, right? But yes, absolutely. So the software is phenomenal, and there's lots of powerful ways to do that. But getting the file that you need, we've talked about all of the different ways. This is just some of the different abilities that are out there. And hopefully this helped you know how you can manipulate whatever you do have available to you to get what you need, and maybe opened your eyes to a few other things that you didn't know were available. So, I'm always available for questions, and Jane, we'll have another one sometime. I don't know when, to be 100% honest. But I most definitely will have another class on craft and cut.
I guess the big question is, will it be
an in-store software classes? Like actual click with me classes are very difficult to do virtually because I can't see what your screen is. And so when you go, my screen doesn't look like that, I can't see your screen. So it's really, really hard.
You almost have to do the lesson with you watching it, and then you can replay the lesson later on.
Right.
Because like she said, it's just almost impossible to keep everybody on the same path. And so many different computers, right?
So many different computers. Are you running, which Windows version are you running? Is your software updated? Are you computer literate?
Savvy, right?
Do you know how to use your mouse? When you clicked, did you click the right way? All of a sudden, I was joking around that I lost my properties box. Well, that's fine. I know how to get it back. But if you don't, and you're, 12 states away from us, I can't show you where, you know, virtually
we can't see what you did.
it's just a lot harder.
Yeah.
But yes, there will absolutely be software in general is something that I would like to add more small, shorter videos to our YouTube channel that say, okay, this is the type of software I'm going to do today, and this is the technique that I'm going to talk about, and have it be, you know, a half an hour to an hour on just something, rather than trying to do the whole shebang, because that's just too much. So I do have every intention of doing that. It's just one of those, yeah, please come on down, Jane. We're right by tons of hotels, so you could make a weekend out of it. But yeah, it's on the list, and I know you guys know it's a long list in between Black of the Month and other things that we've got going on. Unfortunately, that list is kind of moved down on priorities, but it is on the list for sure. So, yep. All right.
Someday we'll have it all.
Someday. Right. I hope this helped somebody out there and answered a few questions. I love my cutting machines. Hopefully you guys do too. And I'm here. And so, Sarah, if you guys have any questions. So thanks for hanging.
Bye.
Bye.